Yeah, Ryan here, Rhino Racing, Rhino 411. I am back finally with an update. A lot has happened over the past, we'll say, month and a half. Well, 2 months now. A lot, which is why it's taken me so long to do this. So I apologize. This one, there's a lot to unpack. So I'm going to go over, as the title says, my MotoAmerica experience and what's been going on since then, which was now, about 2 months ago. And I guess I'm just going to get this out of the way. Things did not go according to plan. We're going to start out by saying that first. Short story of it is we had another engine issue. We scrambled, did what we could to make the round, made it through, but just came up short in qualifying. That being said, I'm still really proud of everything we did, and I'm going to go through that in detail now. It's going to be a two-part video because there's a lot to go through, so I appreciate any of you who stick through both videos. But like I said, there's a lot that's happened, a lot I've learned, a lot to talk about. So that's why I've got my drinks here with me, and why I've also got my laptop, because I'm kind of using that as a kind of a pictorial reference through everything. So let's get started. So
here we go.
So much like times before when I wanted to get prepped for the MotoAmerica weekend, I did the two Czars days, Memorial Day and the day after. My first time on track with the R6 this season at RoadAmerica. The first day went pretty well. It ended up raining in the afternoon, but I still went out on rain tires just to get some more experience in the wet on the bike at RoadAmerica. And then after that, the next day is when things went a bit awry. And I was coming down out of turn 3 into 5. Something like going the motor. It basically turned into a triple. Then by the time I got back into the pits, because I ran off in 5, went up through the paddock, it sounded like a twin. Checked maybe if it was spark plug coils. Those all looked good. Went to go check the spark plugs, and I couldn't get one of them out. So at that point, I contacted Joe at Turn 1 because they took care of the bike, did the engine work and everything. Just to let them know kind of what had happened. And I knew they were prepping for a big weekend themselves. But he still said, if you can get the bike here down to me tonight, I'll go through it and take a look at it. And I'm very thankful for that. Because, I had no idea what was going on. And obviously calling on their expertise. So we got to the point where, we went back, loaded up the bike, took it down. And honestly, I can't remember who took it down. I think... So at this point, everyone in my crew... So we've got Eric, Superbike Supply, we've got Race, Ike, Andy. They're all on my crew. Obviously Natalie as well. With the day of events leading up to MotoAmerica. So Monday and Tuesday were the track day, and then Wednesday, MotoVid had a Ducati Revs track day as well. So
A lot of people were present.
yeah. So Andy rode with me on Monday, then he had to go home, but then Tuesday, Ray showed up, Eric showed up, Ike showed up. So they were there. So if I remember right, like Eric and Race maybe took the bike down. Either way, I know the bike got down to Joe, got dropped off. I know I didn't take it. And again, I apologize. I don't remember everything just because it was such a whirlwind. And honestly, even if I was telling this story the Monday after the MotoAmerica weekend, I would still be doing the same. Like, I don't remember. I normally have a really good memory, but just so much stuff happened. It's not how obviously I wanted things to go with this crazy mad scramble, but it is what it is. So Wednesday rolled around and we started. Basically, we went to the project bike, the Superbike Supply project bike, my backup bike, and I was originally supposed to work at basically like a liaison all day with Ducati Revs. I talked to Mike and Kathleen. They were super understanding because they know I've been working on this for a long time. Basically, I still wanted to do my duty. Like I said, I would do it, so I'm going to do it. So I ended up working the first half of the day, and then I was able to ride the second half of the day to try and start getting time on this bike because I had no time on it at RoadAmerica. the setup. So I started getting it dialed in. TSC was there, and I had them do a quick baseline on it just to give me a starting point because I needed something. And because I was also going to do it on the Dunlops. I hadn't had any time on the project bike on Dunlops as well. And I was still getting things dialed in on the MotoAmerica bike. And I realized what I wanted to do, since it had a higher spec suspension, is I wanted to get the forks off the MotoAmerica bike onto the project bike. So
You had done that Tuesday before the bike went down to Joe.
no, I didn't.
Oh.
Remember, I went down to Joe to get the bike, to get the
That's
forks.
right.
See, she doesn't even remember.
It was a whirlwind.
Yeah. So, because then Joe called me on Wednesday afternoon after things were over and said, cause he basically said he was going to take a look at it and we can see if it's a simple fix or if it's something more terminal. Unfortunately, he said it was something more terminal. It had dropped an exhaust valve. And, yeah, but I still wanted to get the bike back so I could get the forks off it. So then I drove down Thursday morning, which was also our move-in day. So we kind of did a divide and conquer where Race and Eric were going to go move in and set up our pit.
Yep.
I was going to go down in the morning and go get the bike. I wanted to be there for move-in, but I didn't have a bike to move in anyways, so it didn't really matter. Because I also needed to get the project bike tuned for MGPR, which is the MotoAmerica spec fuel. And at the Ducati Revs Day, one of our vendors, besides TSC, is also Get Fast Performance, or formerly Ferro Performance. And I talked to Jason, and he said he could probably fit me in to get the bike tuned Thursday evening.
After they were
done setting up, because they were also racing MotoAmerica. And so I went down to Joe in the morning on Thursday, got the bike, got it back. We throughout the day to get the bike, the forks off and transferred over, get the bike safety wired and tech ready for MotoAmerica. And then Thursday evening, Ike took my truck, we loaded the bike into the truck, and then he took it to Jason's to get tuned. We get there, and then I get a call saying that I forgot to put a couple of the sensors on that were on the A bike, so they couldn't tune it. So Andy had just gotten there, and he was there when we were in the garage working, and he had been there like 10 minutes, got the call, and he immediately just like grabbed his stuff, grabbed the sensors, and just left. And so it was super cool that they all, everybody pitched in and did that without question, and that's why I wanted them as my crew. And we got the bike tuned, and at this point I wasn't even worried about the MotoAmerica bike, and I was just focusing on just trying to get through the weekend. And the thing I will say is, when everything blew on Tuesday, I would like the thought and the words of like just give up or like throw in the towel. Like I just remember thinking like the words give up didn't like cross my mind at all. Like that didn't pop in my head because I just had a realization of that when I was like, all right, well, we're gonna go get the e-bike. In years past, it was, well, there's nothing we can do. We're gonna wave the white flag. And this time, for whatever reason, just nothing. That part didn't like click at all, which was interesting. But I think because we were so close and all this stuff has happened, and I've worked hard to secure support and do like the shirts and make the team more official and everything. And really, this was going to be it. So I think that's part of it. And it's just part of it's my mentality as well. Because we've gotten so close. It was just like laughable that like, how is it possible this happened again? But anyways, so we moved on. We got the bike back from Jason's. So there's also, I thought there was only one tech that you're allowed to go through on, which was Thursday, but there's like this last minute tech they do for a short period Friday morning. So we hauled butt in the morning on Friday. Fortunately, the track is close. So we get to the track. We get there, go to the pits, go to tech, and then all of a sudden there's all these little things we missed, and I'm freaking out because I thought if you don't have this stuff done before tech closes, you're out. So I'm freaking out, and all these little things started happening, of course, where like my transponder, which has been working perfectly, decided to actually like die to the point where like it broke.
It couldn't be reached.
Yeah, we tried like multiple chargers and all these different things and it wouldn't charge. So it basically decided to die on like the most important time when I need it to work of all the times when I've had it. So fortunately, Ike and Andy drove separately from us. They were coming later that morning. They were on their way, turned around, went back to my house, and then took the transponder off Eric's bike because Eric was keeping his bike at the house because we were using his trailer for the MotoAmerica weekend, so we had to unload everything out of his trailer. So they get there, they're charging the transponder on the way to the track. They get there, they give it to me. We pass tech. We missed a couple things like the rear caliper bolts for the brake caliper, the like the tank foam, little things. And you know, they'll let you pass, but they'll obviously keep an eye on you to make sure you get that stuff done. But we made it through tech, so that was another big hurdle that we cleared. And then it was shift focus to practice. Now, needless to say, my head wasn't exactly in the game, but I knew it had to be, so I was doing my best to try to focus in. You know, I was talking with Jonathan Schwager, who's a good friend of mine, who's done MotoAmerica before. He was kind of talking me through the mental aspects of it and what to expect, and I made sure we were pitted near TSC, and also another friend of mine, Kevin Gorman, who did Road America Run last year. That way, if I had any questions, I could go to them, and it was just nice to be with familiar people and people that I know. So I knew the project bike as a stock motor, right? I was never planning to build it, and we are at the horsepower track. So I knew I was going to be, you know, I brought a knife to a gunfight. It kind of felt like I brought a toothpick to a gunfight, to be honest, but either way. Yeah, I knew it was going to be an uphill battle. And my thought was, when I roll out for practice, I get tagged onto a group and just use them as a tow. So we rolled out, and, you know, I'm preparing, and just, I thought I'd go out right behind Kevin and get a tow with him. And, you know, we all line up at the end of pit lane, and the adrenaline's going, and I'm trying to, like, you know, I always have this thing where I'll try and go and kind of warm up the brakes and warm myself up, where I'll roll through the pits, I'll kind of throttle on a little, not hard, like I'm just blitzing through the pits, but then I'll kind of roll on, hit the brakes a few times. And I remember, for whatever reason, I also remember, like, there was a point where I rolled up and I was like hitting the brakes so hard that like my rear tire was coming off the ground, which I've never done before. It doesn't really mean anything, I just remember that distinctly, because I was like, well, that's a first. We've got a lot of firsts happening. So we roll out, and I basically, by the time we rolled out of turn 1, I'd realized I'd made a mistake. That mistake was, yeah, it was a good idea in theory for me to tag onto the back of people. They all have way more motor than me, so they were just gone right away, just instantly. There's nothing I could do. But I did my best to try and get loose, and when people say, because people were telling me leading up to it who've done the event, everyone's out there at like what feels like qualifying pace from the get-go, and that is 1000% true. They were on it, like it felt like a qualifying, like a Super Bowl session. Like everybody was like just trying to do a pole lap, and that was obviously eye-opening. And quick segue, so I did a club race weekend the weekend after, and I remember being in practice out for that, and I was like, why is everybody lollygagging around? Because my brain was used to the complete opposite now. But I just wanted to get some laps in and just kind of do my thing and just try my best. You know, I was hoping I could the goal was to now versus before the motor blew, it was qualify as high as I could, right? Because you remember even saying I wasn't worried about not qualifying.
Right.
Now it was just hope I make the show and qualify. So I wanted to just be within that 107% delta. I wasn't in the first practice session, but I knew it was the first practice session, but I also knew that only meant I had 2 more chances. But I knew that first one, it was unlikely that I was going to make it then, because I just knew how much, like, my brain was trying to get dialed in. And
you were still feeling out the bike.
Yeah.
Trying to dial in.
I only did like three sessions on it, I think, on Wednesday.
Right.
And that wasn't on the the good
Roland.
suspension. That was on my GP stuff. So basically, this first practice session was the first time I'd ridden the bike on this setup. I just realized that. I didn't realize that till just now. Either way. So, but we got some good data. I got some good experience. Came in, have new tires put on, and I just remember and I told the guys before, basically I'm gonna have to be a selfish jerk and just not do anything. And I know that's what I need to do, and they wouldn't even let me do anything. Basically, I just sat in the trailer, and they were just, if I heard something and I was like, what just happened, or what's going on, they'd be like, just go away. Yeah, they wouldn't even let her do stuff.
I couldn't even unfold my own chair.
Yeah, which is what you're supposed to do. That's what it's supposed to be.
So I wasn't
either way, it doesn't matter. So my point with all that is the guys killed it. Now, I'm going to say that repeatedly, but they did.
They were phenomenal. Yeah,
they were perfect. Especially for, them not having, this being, except for, race, none of them have done this before. I never would have guessed. They were perfect.
And looked really good
And they did look really good being perfect, because they were in the shirts that I designed, which I'm very proud of because I'm not an artsy person. And they all decided to get pink shorts, and even some of them got pink shoes to match. I didn't even tell them to do that, but damn, we look good. But a lot of people stopped by to check in because they've been following and seeing what happened, which was really cool. And, I was talking with Schwags quite a lot. Because he was there just we were talking to each other, and he was helping me work through the process and everything, which was good. Obviously, my goal was to make the cut in qualifying 1, which was the next session of the day on Friday. Roll out. Now, this time I decided I was going to go out ahead of Kevin and some people, because then I figured by the time they passed me, I was hoping around turn 5, I could tag on them through the more technical section of the track. Which kind of worked, but it really didn't work. It worked for the first lap, and after it just didn't matter.
Because they got to the straights. And
it did not matter. Even between 7 and 8, I'd get gapped a little bit, but not a ton. Because I kept my roll speed up through there pretty well. But it was obviously frustrating, especially... There were moments where people would pass me between 3 and 5, say they passed me around Sargento going into 5, and they'd blitz by me. By the time we got into the carousel or into the bike bend after the carousel, there were times where I was on someone again. I could have probably done a real late dive and passed them, but it would have been really moot for me to do anyways, because they were just going to pass me again right away, and it would have compromised my drive. But that told me that if all things had been equal, I had, I think people were telling me I had at least 2 or 3 seconds I was losing a lap just on pure horsepower alone, which I believe. Because I could see it.
You were down on average.
Yeah, I was 20 miles an hour down trap speed-wise, average, compared to everyone else. So, the thing, I was trying to take it all in, and I was trying to learn everything, but the problem was, too, is I wasn't used to how everything kind of works, where, people will roll off and kind of wait for a tow, and they'll kind of cruise and look around. We don't do that at our club events. That's something I've never done, so I never thought that I could do that. And I remember Schwagsy told me, roll off, wait for a tow. I'm like, can I do that? Yeah. But I just didn't think to do it. And honestly, I don't think it really would have mattered, because I can't get in a tow with someone with the way the bike was. But I did drop more time. I think the first session I was in 32s, 31s maybe. Or no, my best laps during the Czars event was 32s. I think I got around 30 or so. Because I know I didn't break into the 20s in practice, but then in qualifying 1 I broke into the 28s. I was about a half second off what I'd need to make the cutoff in qualifying 1. Everybody's really excited about it. I honestly really wasn't, because I wanted to just make it then, because then that just meant Q2 was my last chance. And I knew it all just rested on that, which I would rather just had that relief. But we regrouped, and again, crew-wise, like, we were all still, like, having fun, making the best of it, joking around. Like, the guys I wanted because I knew they were going to be professional about it.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to get stuff taken care of, but it was also going to be fun. Like, we all worked well together. Because it was the first time the four of them had worked together as a crew, too. We all knew each other, but had never been in this kind of environment. And I've known Race from when he used to race, but Eric, Ike, Andy did not. To this extent I did too, so it was also new for them to have him basically kind of leading things, and everyone got along awesome.
Yeah.
Which again, that's why I picked who I picked. So yeah, we regrouped in the evening. The next morning, Schwags came to the track, and we were prepared. We got the bike all good to go, new fresh tires, everything that you would usually do, and we went out for qualifying too, and was totally not in my normal mindset. What I had been doing since I knew I couldn't really like tow with anybody is I was just racing my lap timer. So I had it set up to predictive on Saturday, so then I knew if I was up, it would give me a green light for every 10th I was up. It would be red if I was a 10th down, and I forgot.
Friday is how you had that.
Or Friday, yeah. Did I say Saturday?
Yes.
Okay, Friday. So then Saturday, I obviously would have done the same thing. So when we rolled out for qualifying, it was not set up that way. And I realized later how much I was not in my normal mindset, because all I'd had to have done is either hit the button on my aim, or when I came in during the session, is have someone else change it. And I didn't think to do either of those things. Anywhere else, any other time, I would have done it.
Even after somebody asked if there were any changes
Yep.
at all that needed to be made.
Yeah, because in each session, I would come in at a certain time and just check in, or if I needed a quick break. And I was just like so frustrated because I felt like I was pushing, but I wasn't getting any more time. So I came in and I just sat there kind of like, Eric asked me, like, do you need anything? And I'm just looking at it like, I don't know.
I even think he said something about the aim. I know he said suspension, and I thought he said aim too.
To me?
I thought so.
No, he didn't.
Okay, then it was just suspension.
Because if he would have, I probably would have called.
I know he asked specific about suspension.
Yeah. Yeah, so I rolled back out. And again, I'm kind of guessing on how much time I need to leave myself to do a couple laps. I had enough time to do a couple more laps. I knew what I needed to do. I didn't even ask him what times people were throwing down, because part of the reason I was kind of bummed I didn't make it the day before is because I told everyone, like, there's a good chance you're going to go quicker tomorrow. One thing I'll say, I did learn, like, a lot of the turns at MotoAmerica, I have to late apex way later than I think, like to the point I feel like I basically blew the turn. And I kept trying to do that, and I obviously wasn't successful at it to the point where I wanted to be. But I learned a lot from that in hindsight, which is good for the future. But I went out and I shaved off another few tenths, still in the 28s, rolled in, and I was pretty gutted. Like I knew I didn't make the cut. So I left my helmet on. We got the bike back to Park Ferme. I just Schwags gave me a ride back, and I just sat there in the trailer, and I was just so defeated. And because I remember rolling on the last lap, like I said, I wasn't in my normal mental state. Like the last flying lap I had, I remember saying to myself coming up the front straight, like, this is it. It's like now or never. And again, I didn't have any idea if I was going quicker or not. So I had no idea what I was doing during that lap. Because I like to race the timer, because there was always those times. Any of you who've raced or done track days or chased lap times like that, you kind of know. There's times where you feel like you're pushing, but then you'll find out that you weren't going fast. You might be going slower. It's the whole you're trying too hard kind of thing. And I had no idea either way though. But yeah, I got back to the trailer. Apparently, Schwag said, like, I forgot what it's called, but you contact the race director and just basically plead your case to, like, make the, like, will you still let us qualify even though we're outside of the Delta? And he said, you'll get a text. I got the text and said I didn't make it, which I didn't expect to. And
Still hurt.
well, it doesn't matter. I already knew.
I know.
And honestly, I didn't want to make it that way anyways. Like, if he'd asked me if he wanted me to do that afterwards, I would have told him no. Because that's not how I wanted to make it. Even with the, the deficit that I had. Yeah, so I was pretty defeated. I was upset. I was in tears. I was crying. And I felt bad. I felt like I'd let everybody down. I kept telling people that. Eric came into the trailer. I told him that I was sorry, because I felt like I told him I'm sorry I let him down. And he just looked at me and smiled and was like, you have nothing to be sorry for. Like, we're having the time of our lives. And he kept saying that to me, and I know he meant it. But I still felt all that weight. And so yeah, that obviously sucked. But I told the guys, like, Sunday. So the first race was Saturday. It ended up being rainy. But Sunday was the fan walk, and I told everybody beforehand, like, no matter what, we're going to do the fan walk, because that's something I've been looking forward to doing, because I'm a people person. I love interacting with people. I love being able to, like, you make someone's day or make a kid's day just, like, by letting them sit on your motorcycle or signing something for them. And I just think that's awesome that we get the chance to do that. So I wanted to be out there because I wanted to also represent all my friends and my sponsors and my partners and everybody who's backed me and been there for me, and especially in these circumstances. And we had a ton of fun. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of kids came up. There was one little girl who came up and told me my bike was her favorite one because of all the colors.
Because of the pink, specifically.
I wish I'd gotten her name. She was awesome. Yeah, had a lot of people come up. Had some lady who had a cute, super cute corgi puppy that I got to hold, which is super awesome. And yeah, even though we weren't going to make the race, still made the best of it. Got to see a lot of friends and fellow racers who came out, and it was cool to see them. And some people that Natalie knew that didn't know I was racing came out and were surprised, and like they really had a good time. And she had a coworker bring her son out and whatnot, so that was really cool. That I really enjoyed. Obviously, that was my favorite part of the weekend. Honestly, even if I'd made the races, that still probably would have been a highlight. Just because I love that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
We made the best of.
We did.
The rest of our time at the track. We
did. And, I'll say this again at the end, but like, Superbike Supply, ICAF, Ledge Rock Distillery, PC Vino, Harry's Prohibition Bistro, Redline Moto, GB Racing, Turn 1, Scorpion, helmets, Attack Performance, Forma Boots, Knockaround Sunglasses, MotoVid, Hollow Bill, Andy,
yep.
Creekside Performance Center,
yep.
All of you who were there, Vortex, all of you that have been with me for a while and or newly came on this year, it means so much to me that you were there to support me. And I'm just going to say this up front, I'm hoping that I can continue something on with all of them next year and more, because it really felt like a privilege of me to be able to represent all of you, and that you believed in me enough to put that faith in me. And yeah, all I can do is really say thank you. And also, reflecting back as well, it almost felt like the whole like racing, our Midwest community kind of just like came together and helped. And again, that was part of the reason I felt so bad that I came up short. I mean, Joe and Wyatt, everybody at Turn 1 put in a lot of like late night, especially when they went and took apart the motor, and it was a learning experience for me. It turns out like I didn't know that I was doing this obviously, but what I was told is like I was over revving the bike past the rev limit, so that's why I ended up dropping the exhaust valve. I was doing it multiple times a lap. Again, I didn't know I was doing it. It's a hard lesson learned for me, but we have to learn from those things, and I obviously did. But either way, they put in a lot of hard work and backing with me for that. And then having TSE help me and guide me along when I was at the track and help me out, with the setup with like the baseline on that Wednesday last minute. And then Jason Farrell and Jessica helping me to get the bike tuned right before the event. Like everybody just kind of like came together, which was super cool.
It shows how tight the
Yeah.
race family
Yeah.
is.
That was super cool. Very humbling. But I mean, everybody. Like I said, I'm looking on my laptop too to like look through pictures as we're going through. But like, some of these sponsors have been with me for a while. Scorpion Helmets, GB Racing, Forma Boots, Motovid, Knockaround, like. And then we've had, it's been cool to have local businesses come on board that I know, like ICAF and Creekside, Ledge Rock, Pizza Vino, Harry's Prohibition Bistro, because we love pizza. It's delicious. And then, Redline Moto and, some of the newer partners we've had. It's been really cool to see everything kind of come together like that. And, Mike and Kathleen from Motovid being understanding and letting me ride on Wednesday. Super cool. Means a lot to me. I needed a lot of time to regroup after this. Like I said, my brain felt like someone had thrown it in a blender. And all I could think about afterwards was just, what do I do next?